Coming back to some of the points that Chris Philp mentioned in his questions and the speech by the Secretary of State for Justice yesterday, he said in his speech, I'll just quote from him if that's okay, that it is sometimes claimed that we will only get free trade if we accept free movement, but the EU has free trade deals with nations that obviously do not involve free movement. You do not need free movement to have free trade and friendly cooperation. And of course that is true, but let's not confuse free trade with the single market, going back to the point that Chris Philp mentioned earlier. But isn't it the case that you may be able to get free trade outside the EU, but if you are outside the single market, you categorically will not get that same trade in services that we get today?
Well, I think, as I explained before, I think there are many aspects of the single market which have been very damaging, not just for Britain, but for the entire continent. I also question your assumption that a single market in services is a good idea. I'll make 2 points about that. First point is people have been talking about this for a long time and it hasn't developed. The second thing is a single market in services would actually be deeply destructive for Great Britain. We attract the biggest proportion of investment into the European Union precisely because we have a different legal system to Greece, Italy, Portugal, Spain, etc. We have a common law system, we have a system of courts, contract, insurance, etc., which is the reason why we suck in all this money from all around the world. The idea of harmonising our rules on all of this with Greece would be disastrous for these investment flows. So I reject your premise. The idea that we want a quote single market in services is false. Harmonisation of all of these rules is damaging often. Occasionally it's a good idea, but also when it is a good idea, it increasingly makes sense to make those rules at a global level, not at a regional level. And there's a very good reason for that. When you make it at a global level, we can then have choice and flexibility about how we actually implement them. When we take it via the EU route, the ECJ is in charge of how we implement it and stops us ever getting out of it if it goes wrong.
I'm not sure if this is really answering my question. In the city where I'm a Member of Parliament in Leeds, financial services is a very big part of our local economy, and financial services are huge employers in the city, so a lot of jobs depend on financial services. At the moment, there's passporting arrangements that if you are abiding by the rules in your home country, you can operate in other European countries as well. That's because we're part of the single market.
Yeah.
If we were to leave the EU, you may get free trade agreements, so no trade tariffs. But it's hard to see, given the comments of people like Wolfgang Schäuble, that you would have the same sort of trade in services outside the European Union. Would you agree with that? I mean, you may think it's a good thing, but would you agree with it?
The single most important thing with the city and financial services is that we control the wide boys at Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan who drove the economy off a cliff in 2008. These banks often behave disgracefully. They pay themselves disgracefully. The most important thing is we control their behaviour in this country. Allowing the current system in which Goldman Sachs and all of these people spend millions in the corrupt Brussels lobbying system to rig the rules for themselves is a disaster, and we should bring that to an end.
Sorry, this may be an interesting point, but it's not answering the question that I posed to you. Goldman Sachs do not have any branches or any employees in the city of Leeds. What I was asking about was the passporting arrangements and whether we would have the same sort of access to the services market across the European Union if we were outside. That's not about regulation, it's about those passporting arrangements.
Passporting is part of regulation, that's the whole point. The point is who makes all these regulations. Passporting is one aspect of it. My point is the most important thing is that Britain controls the financial regulation for these companies.
So you would be happy that if we left the European Union, one of the consequences of that, or you would accept that one of the consequences of that, is that we wouldn't have that access to the single market?
No, I'm not accepting that. What I'm saying is How the precise details of passporting are worked out is something that will have to be worked out. But of course, there is a huge reason why that Europe will want to do that, and that is because Britain has the #1 financial centre in Europe. They want to be here using our services. There is a great incentive for them to sort out the passporting system, the same as there is for us. But my main point is, that's not the most important thing. The most important thing is we control the banks. We don't let the corrupt institutions of Brussels control the banks.